My name is Karl Lindquist. I live now in Key West, Florida. Come from there to here. I was here on the day that the war ended, on the outskirts of Pilsen, not in the center of the town. And that day was my 20th birthday. Right, the day the war ended. And I came down, I was riding in a truck, in the back of a truck, and I had no idea that the war had ended. And I looked up, and there was one of the small planes, like the ones that flew over the crowd yesterday, doing some acrobats in the sky. I thought, what's he doing up there? Maybe the Germans are shooting at him, and he's trying to avoid getting hit. And he was going crazy up there. It wasn't until later that I realized that he knew the war was ended, but I didn't know it yet. I didn't know it for a few moments until I looked up in front of about 3 or 4 trucks in front of me, and the fellows in the truck were throwing their helmets up in the air and jumping all over the place. And that's when I knew we jumped out of the truck, and we knew that it had finished. The fighting had finished, and we stood around and talked. My original sergeant, who was in charge of me, was now the first sergeant of the company, which he had moved up, but he was only my platoon sergeant first. But as we lost sergeants, he kept moving up, so he became the first sergeant of the company. And he told me, said to me, came over to talk to me, said, Karl, did you know that there are only 5 of us who started with the company? The company has 180 men. And there are only 5 of us here today for this happening? And I said, no, I didn't realize that. Of course, you know that doesn't mean everybody was killed. It means that some were wounded and some, for one reason or other, were still not with the company because they got shell shocked or not mentally able to stand it. And so I was very surprised at that. And that's a lot of friends, people I knew. It's not the way it happens in the movies. Usually a lot of them end up together, and they've been through this whole thing. And it's like you're sad because they're gone, but you're happy because you're still there. And that's when I knew the war was ended. And my company was assigned to a small village in Czechoslovakia, a town by the name of Kremže, Kremze town. And we stayed there for 3 months, and I got to know the people in the town, and I enjoyed that town, particularly. Made a particularly bond with the young men who had been forced to work in Germany, and they were starting to come back from Germany to Czechoslovakia. And of course, I had studied German in high school, and they all spoke about the same amount of German that I did. Not a lot, but enough so that we could communicate. And at that time, a lot of the small villages were having celebrations because they had not been able to have any celebrations before under the Germans. So it'd be like weekend after weekend, there'd be one town, and we didn't have any vehicles, so we would walk from this little town to another town where they were having a dance and having a whole party. And I've traveled with these young men, and of course we were near the Russians, And we would get to one place, and I would probably be usually the only American soldier because most of them did not have that much contact with the Czech boys. They played baseball or whatever they did, but I had a lot of contact with the Czechs, and so I would be there with just Czechs, and there would be the Russians who would come in to the cafe or the bar where we were dancing. You know, they were very macho. They would come over to me, this American, and I'd already maybe had 2 or 3 beers by then, and I'm sitting there, and they would put a glass in front of me and say, they'd fill it with vodka, and they'd fill another glass with vodka, and one of them would sit down, he would drink the vodka right down. Then they'd say, you do it. So I had to do that because, you know, I had to stand up for the Americans.
Have you perceived any differences between Czechs and Americans?
What happened to me at that time, by then I had become a medic in the American Army. For the first 3 months I was a fighting soldier, and then for the last 3 months of the war I was a medic. And we had we set up a station in this small town, and there was a lady who was right across from the schoolhouse where we were staying, who had a wound, just an accident, a wound, and so every day she would come in and I would dress the wound, and we became very friendly. She was, probably an older lady. She had a daughter and a son, and I met the daughter, and the daughter and I became very friendly. And so I got to know the people very well. This family, of course, they were country people. I mean, a small town, not sophisticated people, but very, very warm, very friendly, and I love the town. I had got to know lots of the girls in the town, and the young fellows, and I would see them a lot. So it was no problem for me to get acquainted. I thought the thing that I liked the best was about the Czechs, that if they liked you because of you. But so many times in places like Germany, people would act like they liked you, or in France, but they were not you knew that was not sincere.
Have you learned any Czech words?
I used to be able to. I can say Dober den, Dobrovich.
How have you enjoyed the Pilsen Liberation Festival?
I've enjoyed being back here, and I particularly enjoyed yesterday that with the people along the streets. I was in the Jeep, going past the people, and it was a very, very touching. It was amazing because I wish that more of the Americans were able to see that. You know, I don't think they understand that, how appreciative the Czechs were. It's very emotional.
Thank you for sharing with us.